Hello and welcome to the Sounds and Symbols mini video series number 11 on the road to literacy. Today's session is about helping children to discriminate between sounds. It's very important that children can discriminate between language sounds, but you can help them to discriminate between other sounds as well as a precursor to language sounds. This mini series of 20 videos offers activity ideas to help to promote the foundational skills required for literacy success. You will find this introduction at the beginning of each session to remind you of the skills you are helping your child to gain and to explain how these contribute to literacy success. Sounds and Symbols is committed to play-based learning, the belief that the spoken word should come before the written word, Vygotsky's sociocultural theory of cognitive development, that language is the root of culture, that a child's culture is significant to their learning, and that children learn within their community role. That building knowledge upon previous knowledge is how children learn, through holism, bringing together everything that they know, and that children learn through doing. This diagram shows indicators of good literacy. Children learn through experience. This is gained from their environment and their interactions within it. The skills on this diagram are evident in children who are good at literacy. By promoting these skills, it is possible to establish a sound foundation for literacy. Each indicator has been identified through educational research. Children who struggle with literacy are often weak in some of these areas. For a more in-depth explanation of these indicators, please refer to the Literacy Unlocked webinars at www.melsis.co.uk/eduweb. Teaching children through music is a very natural, fun and enjoyable and successful way to learn, and this is especially true of literacy because language and music have a great deal in common. Facility with language and the ability to discriminate and to manipulate language sounds are the most important precursors to literacy success. Musical activities offer a means of playing with language sounds. By focusing on developing an awareness of language sounds, a secure literacy foundation can be laid. Listening to stories, singing songs, reciting rhymes, and enjoying finger plays and action songs are the bedrock of early literacy learning, as they help children to tune in to language sounds. They also help to create a fun and playful environment in which children can learn to identify, match, and manipulate language sounds. These skills are essential for literacy. This session is about helping children to discriminate between sounds. It's called auditory discrimination. It means being able to tell the difference. Phonological awareness is the awareness of sounds within words in our language. It's very important to literacy because we need to be able to match these sounds with letters. If children are able to attune or tune in to the sounds in language, they firstly need to be able to tune in to sounds within their environment. Can they tell the difference between a tractor and a car, or a car and a motorbike sound? In session 1, I talked about listening and identifying sounds, but now we're going to look at the difference between the sounds. I played some environmental sounds. This helps children to focus on whatever it is they're supposed to be listening to. Like we said, the difference between a car and a motorbike maybe. The discrimination of sounds means being able to tell the difference. Ultimately, for literacy, this means, for example, between b, p. They're quite similar. Being able to hear the sounds in words helps children to recognise the matching letters when reading and to write the correct sounds when they're writing. Good listening skills and being able to pay attention help children to have good auditory discrimination. So we need the earlier skills first that we now bring to this. Let's have a look at what we can do. One thing we can do is play instruments and ask, are they the same or are they different? So for example, I'll play you two sounds here. I hope that you can hear them. Let's go for this one. Okay, ready? Here's the first sound. Here's the second sound. Were those sounds the same or different? Do you think they were different instruments or the same instruments? They were quite different. The first was a drum and the second was a tambourine. What about if we make scraping sounds? So you can hear this one. Or this one. They're both scraping sounds, but one is made with a plastic instrument and the other is made with a wooden instrument. So you need to be able to see if children can tell the difference between these sounds, tell you what is making the sound. Remember we had this sound in another of our songs, or the one about Ollie the owl. How is that different to something that's made maybe of wood? Is it the same? Is it different? What's different about it? So talk about sounds. We've got 3 shaking sounds. See if you can see the difference between these. Now, if you could show children these instruments, this one, and this one. So show them, let them see the instrument and the sound, and then hide them, make the sounds, and see if they can tell which one was which. This is helping children to tune in to different sounds. I don't know if you know the song Music Man. So I've changed the song slightly to include Humpty, because he likes to join in these songs. So give children instruments made of, for example, 3 different materials. So either made of plastic, so they know it's made of plastic, made of metal, or made of wood. So you sing the song, and then you sing, you can play if you have anything that's made of metal, wood, or plastic. And then they have to play at the appropriate time. I'll demo it for you in a minute. And then also you could say, I want you, you can play if you have something that sounds like mine. And they have to decide if that is wood, metal, or plastic. It's maybe for slightly older children, maybe in primary school. So the song goes like this. I am Humpty Dumpty, I come from sounds and symbols, and I can play. What can you play? I can play anything made of metal. So then the children, if they have something made of metal, can play their metal thing. I can play anything made of metal, made of metal, made of metal. I can play anything made of metal, made of metal. I do the same for made of wood, made of plastic. So you're tuning children's ears to the differences in sounds. Another thing you can do is sound bingo. I think it's probably a game you can buy, but you can make your own. So you can make like a picture of this, or a picture of this, or a picture of anything that makes a sound, maybe a squeaky duck. And then you make the pictures into a little square, like a bingo card. And then you make the sound. And if the children have the same sound as is on their picture, they can cover it up. And when they've got all the sounds, bingo. Another idea is a sound walk. So you go out very quietly. You can walk around a building or you can go outside and listen very carefully. Try to remember the sounds and the things that you could hear while you were walking. Don't go for very long. A couple of minutes is long enough. But maybe if you live on a busy street, you might hear horns from cars, you might hear bus engines or the bus's brakes as it's slowing down, people chattering, people knocking on doors. Depends where you live. You might go out in the countryside, you might hear the birds singing, you might hear the crushing of leaves as you're walking along. So go on a little sound walk and see if children hear different things. They might come back with completely different ideas to what you thought you were hearing. Another thing you can do is just say words that have a different, usually a different vowel makes a lot of difference. Ask if the words are the same or different. So for example, bat, bat. Are they the same or different? Oh, they're the same. Bat, bet. Ooh, my mouth is making a different shape as well. So that's very useful for literacy. Another thing is Montessori Bells. I don't know if you've had any experience of Montessori Bells. You can always send me a message, and I have a friend who has done some training on Montessori Bells and it's excellent. I can send you that if you like information on that. And what happens is there's a bell for each musical note in the scale. So that's 8, and there are 2 sets of bells, and the children have to be able to match the bells by sound. Then later they learn to put the bells in order of pitch. So they're attuning to differences in pitch, small differences in sound sometimes. So they start looking at the bigger differences. So for example, I'll play you 2 notes. One is low and one is high. You could maybe play low notes and get children to bob down really low. And when you play high notes, they jump up as high as they can. If you play notes in the middle, they wiggle around in the middle. For example, like this. You can talk about which one is high and which one is low. Are they the same or different? What about this one? These 2. Are they the same or different? What about these 2? Those 2 were the same. So if you can play notes that are very close and children can tell the difference between those, then their auditory discrimination is coming on really well. That was the last one. So remember to observe the children that you're with. Can they discriminate between environmental sounds, the ones that you hear when you're out walking? Can they tell the difference between 2 instruments playing? What if 2 instruments play the same note, say a piano and a whistle? Can the children tell the difference? The note is the same, the pitch is the same, but the instrument is different. Can a child discriminate between pitches, like the difference between 2 notes being played? And can each child discriminate between words that are close in sound, like bet, bit, bat, but? There isn't such a word as bot, but you could try. Okay, some lovely ideas there to keep you going. That's all for now. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Please join me again for number 12, and that'll be on phonological awareness, and we're going to start with syllables. Thank you.